This batch of questions come from actual Year 12 papers. So it's really important you can solve these quadratic equations. And I know that it's a little bit harder when you've got a coefficient of x squared that isn't 1, but the numbers are pretty easy and it's really important that you can do these by hand. They come up all the time on exam papers on exam 1. So with this first one, when you have a look at it, you can see that the numbers are pretty small. We've just got, 2, 3, and 5, so it's not going to be too hard to find our factors. Now, I know that 3p squared can only be found by multiplying 3p by p. And then 2, our last number at the end, can only be found by multiplying 2 and 1. So we're quite limited with choice. It ends in a plus, so it tells us both signs are going to be the same, and the first sign is a negative, so we know there has to be negatives in there. And your choices are to put 1 and 2 like that, or 2 and 1. So hopefully you'll find that it's pretty easy to just by looking at it and doing a quick expand in your head to find that the way they're positioned now is correct. Because if we do a quick expand, 3p times p gives us 3p squared. That's good. Then when we do 3p times negative 1 and collect that with negative 2p, that gives us the negative 5p, which is also correct. And finally, the negative 2 times the negative 1 gives us the plus 2 at the end. So we're fairly confident that it's all correct, and we know that p must equal 2/3 and 1. So you can see with all of these examples, the numbers are pretty small, so they're not hard to do just by inspection. So I know that to get 2a squared, the only way I can do that is by a times 2a, or 2a times a. Doesn't really matter too much. And for 2, I can only have 1 times 2. So I quickly see that by putting it in that order, I can easily do a quick expand and find that, yes, I've got everything in the correct spot. By doing my quick expand, I know that I've got my 3a as my middle term. So there we go, and a equals negative 2.5. Right, this one here, probably the numbers are a bit bigger this time, and it might take you a couple of goes to get there, but it's not too bad. We know with 7 at the end, we can only do 7 and 1, so I'm going to just put those in because we don't have any options. And remember, we're trying to get our middle term to be equal to 6p. So if I used 16 and 1, it's not going to get me to 6. So I'm going to try using 2p and 8p and looking to see if I can get that 6p. So to get the 6p, I know that these two together and those two together are going to give me my p terms. And yep, 14 and 8, I can easily get to 6 like that, and I need to have 14 minus 8 to get the negative to get 6p. So hopefully with a little bit of practice you can do these, and if you don't get it right the first go, just move things around and you will get there, because as you can see, there's not too many options. It's not like the really hard ones that you did in year 10 when there were so many factors of each number that it took a long time to get there. You can see these are straight off year 12 exam papers. The numbers are all small and manageable. All right, let's keep going. 3a squared has to be a and 3a. 1, well, there's no options whatsoever there, and so get your signs in the right spot. We've got a equals negative 1, and it also equals 1/3. A couple more to go. You can see equally really tiny numbers. So I'm going to say x and 2x, and it has to be 3 and 1. If I put them in that order, yep, do a quick expand, that's all good. So x equals negative 1 and 3 on 2. Finally, okay, I know that for 3a squared, I can only have 3a and a. Now 8 gives me a few more options. So like if you tried 4 and 2, and then you check to see how you get your middle term, well, there's no way 6 and 4 can get me to 5. You might spin those around and put 4 here and 2 and try again. 2 and 12, nope, that's not going to work. So you quickly eliminate those options and realize that we do need to use 1 and 8. And try that again. Yep, 8 and 3 is easily going to get me to 5, as long as that's minus and that's plus. So do a quick expand, Yep, we've got all our signs and our numbers in the right spots. It's equal to 0, so A equals -1 and 8 on 3. Hopefully you found that helpful.